So I'm going to use the case of books because in 2 minutes it's a lot easier, and then I'll spend just a few seconds expanding to other domains, and I'll get into the algorithm if you're interested at my post here. But basically, if we use collaborative filtering or any sort of popularity measure to tell people what books they should buy based on the collections that match their interests, the problem with that in the case of books is we'd be recommending Pokemon and not a thing to our students. So if we want to inspire people to read, if we want to improve literacy, if we want them to be reading about topics pertaining to diversity, if we want them to understand author study and author series, we have to change the algorithm to include other aspects, which in the case of books is a combination of expert opinion and then the metrics, the benchmarks. And these benchmarks and metrics are really pervasive in all sorts of continuous improvement systems. But in the case of books, things like the lexile level, the reading level of the book, the fiction, nonfiction mix I mentioned, those are the things that would be the benchmarks. And the combination of the three ends up with a recommendation system that captures really the librarian, and it captures really the social objectives of the organization making the recommendation. And then it's a learning system because we learn from what people actually buy, as you would in any collaborative filtering system. You learn from success and failure, and you feed back into the system. So that's the kind of general concept, but then in order to build systems that result in continuous improvement and social change in some sort of societal improvement, we turn to the action research cycle, which I think is really the foundation of taking forms and reports and data collection to the next level to say, okay, we're going to take the results from the recommendation, implement it, observe what happens, and then feed it back into the recommendation engine for the next step. And so in our work, we're applying this not just to books, but to green building, to agriculture, primarily coffee and cocoa, to educational systems, and to public health systems.
Thank you, Michael.